Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill Graff, along with Nan Su and Amy Howe. This is China Uber Alice on AM 1080 KSCO. We have quite a show for you today. As always, in a few minutes, we'll check in with Amy. She will be continuing her story this week, and she always leaves off when I just want to hear the next part. So we'll be checking in with Amy in just a moment. Nan, how are you?
Okay. Yeah, Billy, thank you for the introduction. I think we're going to have a exciting show today, and we're going to talk about voter fraud in this 2020 election. Our president this morning sent out a tweet, and the tweet stated, Dominion, in case you have never heard of it, Dominion is one of the major voting system that's being used in the U.S. election. So President said in his tweet, Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide, and data analysis finds more than 221,000 Pennsylvania votes switched from President Trump to Biden. That's the tweet from the president. Of course, the president's tweet always get backlash from the media. Daily Mail just published an article today saying President Donald Trump put forward a new conspiracy in his effort to try to pry away states' call for President-elect Joe Biden. And of course, the very famous Attorney Linwood, I'm not sure if you still remember his name. He was the instrumental key role attorney in the case of a Centennial Olympic Park bombing in Atlanta 1996.
Yes,
so he is right now joining the legal team of Trump campaign, and he sent a tweet this morning. It is a blessing to wake up in America. It is a blessing to be in America. It is a blessing to be free. Now, here is the key. Our country is at war with communist China. They attack us with COVID and Dominion. Dominion is the voting system that we just talked about. Now, this is all in the news today, just today, and hopefully you have been already updated. But however, you probably may not have known its Dominion voting system was one of the voting systems attend a congressional public hearing back in January of 2020, and the public hearing was made because Chinese technology in voting machines seen as an emerging threat. All you need to do is go back to read the Bloomberg article that was published back in January, titled Chinese Technology in Voting Machines Seen as an Emerging Threat. So now, the threat is not a threat. It's a real thing here now. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about, do you believe that the voter fraud exists? Let's talk about, do you believe that China actually play a role in the voter fraud in the 2020 election? Do you think we should investigate China for their involvement in the voter frauds that took place here in the U.S. 2020 election? Of course, before we discuss all that, we are going to first have Amy Howe to share her personal story with all of us. Amy spent more than a decade of time in re-education program during Cultural Revolution under Chairman Mao in China. So Amy is going to continue her story, which she left in our last show.
She left off in the last show when I wanted to find out what was happening. At first she thought she was going to go to get some discipline with the head guy at the camp.
Yes, some punishment.
Some punishment, and then she went past the place where she thought, oh, maybe I'm gonna escape punishment, and then she went farther on the trail, and that's where she left off.
No. The guy actually burned.
Oh, that's right.
The evidence.
Burned the evidence. That's correct. I forgot the small detail.
That's right. Right.
It's kind of like what's going on in. Well, never mind. I won't go there. Anyway.
Okay,
So,
Amy, why didn't you tell us?
Yeah, tell us.
Okay, so he burned the Old Chen, which he is a member of the Shanghai Caring Committee. So he burned my story, my right story. So I was very angry at the moment. And then also I was wondering, seems like he saved me. So on the way back, the Old Chen looks like quite relieved. He said to me with a long sign, he said, "Don't mention today to anybody. Just pretending you never wrote, I never read." So that was very surprised what I heard, what he said. And he continued, he said, with a kind of a sympathetic turns. He said, "Actually, I liked your writing." He said, "When I was young, as your age, I liked to write. And that's why, why I end up working for the propaganda department in Shanghai." And somehow I started to changing at the beginning I was have a feeling toward him, it's hateful feelings for him. And somehow I'm changed. And I was started thinking in my heart, I said, for me, this 20 minutes journey is like every steps walking to the execution ground, because I was scared where I'm going to go, what are they going to do to me in a jail, execution, all kind of things. But what for him? So I was thinking maybe he also had deep down his heart, have some kind of struggle in his heart. It's how to dealing with me like a lost lamb. So it's gonna sell her, kill her, or save her. I think he probably get to this, not easy for him to make a choice. And that's just wondering me. And so I had talked about it about him. He is about 40 years old, something like that. And he is a secretary of the Minister of Propaganda Department in Shanghai. Quite a position. And not long ago, we had some kind of welcome meeting, and so we were exchanging, and some poet we wrote to, say that we were loyal to Mao, to the party, that kind of revolutionary point. So he wrote something, and I wrote something, so we read it, and but I found out he also liked Chinese traditional poetry. So that's what I like, but we cannot talk about it. So I think he also a little confused. Should we talk about those old poetry, or we just talk about revolution? So it's kind of, somehow it's a kind of mutual interest, and somehow I think he saved me. Maybe he think he didn't want to destroy me in that point. That's what I thought, right? So when we approaching entrance of a village, and he suddenly stopped. Then he was turned very serious. He said that I have tests for you. Wow. I said, what? My heart immediately tightened again. I was relaxed for a while. I just, And he said that there is a girl, about 18 years old, live a nearby village, also from Shanghai. And he was deeply influenced by Western culture, and led her to a morally corrupt life.
Oh.
Say, tomorrow I'm gonna give you her diary, and you're gonna write a critical article and to denounce her. So that's my task. So in my heart, I really wanted to back Old Chen to save that girl. Also is a lost lamb. And but meanwhile, selfishness and coward, I don't know what I was, so I just immediately stopped the thinking, and instead of I just accept, I was nod my head and silently, but I just like accepted this task. Well, but so I'm talking about 50 years later. I think about this. That's a part of a communism. I mean, this CCP, and they play this kind of role to divide and conquer people. Mm-hmm. So they got you, and they say, "Okay, I saved you," but you had to denounce somebody else against somebody else. But you were gradually to do it because you are very grateful. They saved you. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
Psychological warfare.
Psychological war, yeah. And so on that night, he gonna give me tomorrow her diary or something. So that night I had a horrible nightmare, and I dreamed about this couple of this Liberation Army officer arrested me and this girl named Lin, and push us to the dry well. And then they shouted to us, say the last chance. If you bend down begging for mercy, so you still have a chance to live. So the Old Chen was behind me. I'm talking about my dream, nightmare. Old Chen behind me, so he just violently kicked the back of my knee. So I just nailed it down on the ground. And so they didn't push me, but that girl, lean girl, still standing. So they just pushed her because she didn't kneel down, and push her into the dry well. And after that, they point out nearby have a bigger rock, and they order me to move the rock, and to move the rock to the well. And the girl was underneath, was crying for help, and I was moving, push this rock. It was so heavy and so big, and I hold my breath. But finally, the rock loosened, and then falling in, slipped down to the well. So I was screaming and struck out from my dream. So that's my nightmare. So for years, I don't want this nightmare to haunt me, but sometimes come back. Since I come to United States, I never come back. But until 2010, I visiting Israel, Jerusalem, when walking in the Rosa via the crucifixion, the road for the Jesus.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, the nightmare just broke into my mind. So I was thinking, now I understood why we need a Jesus, and through those thousands punishment, and for all the thing we committed. And if don't have him, so who gonna carry the cross in my heart? So that thing I wrote, when 50 years, they have this propaganda, the celebration, they want everybody to write about. So I write about this, exactly the words I said. And of course they now want me to publish, and they want me to rewrite everything. And but at that moment, I just wanted to tell people how we've been through, how the communism, how to conquer and brainwash us, and to torture our soul, right? And so lots of people, I didn't really talk about it. I didn't went to the meeting to criticize her or what's happened to her afterwards. I didn't write it in that story. I will talk about that maybe next week. What's happened to her and what's happened to Old Chen, Actually, 50 years, I'm looking for that. I met the Old Chen in the one of the occasion, the reunions. They invite him too. But of course, we never see the girl again. But I will tell the story. But I'm just talking about after that many years, many decades passed by, the thing was still really haunting me.
It's
those
obvious.
Things.
Look,
probably forever.
I just have to say this: in watching you tell the story today, it's disturbing to you. We can see it in your face.
Well, this is how Chinese people are. Many Chinese people, after many years they left China, they still have this kind of feeling,
turmoil,
so fear. This kind of a fear in their heart. It's kind of a nightmare. Yeah, it's a nightmare. It keep coming back even many years has passed. It's something that after you go through such a tremendous affair, it just kind of like occupy a part of you that's you just never go away. I'm glad you found Jesus, which help you to release a lot of those stress. That's good for you.
But it's an understanding of how real post-traumatic stress is. It's still alive and well in your heart because of the fact that all you have to do is remember the fear, then the relief, then the fear again, then even more fear. Because the fear, every time you have a nightmare...
It's like an internal turmoil.
Yeah.
And that culture your soul,
Amazing. Well, you're listening to China Uber Alice. That is today's installment of Amy Howe's continuing story about the Cultural Revolution, and we put that in parentheses. Really hard to imagine. All these years later, you're still dealing with that.
Yeah, that's true. Now, we're going to start our today's discussion. We're going to talk about the voter fraud through Dominion voting system. That's a voting system that with many parts built in China, which we don't know how many parts what's built in China, but we do know through January congressional hearing back in January that some part of Dominion voting machine was built in China, and there was a concern raised to the congressional leaders that Chinese technology seen as an emerging threat. But however, now we are in the probably most of the important election ever in the U.S. history. Now we are facing all these problems. So we're going to have
we have Peter Gao on the phone.
Yes, we are going to first have Peter Guo as our special guest today, and he is a vice chairman of a Republican Party in California. Hey, Peter, welcome to our program.
Yes, Sudan, it's great to be here today. Thank you.
All right, thank you for being with us. So we're talking about the Dominion software glitch issues, but before we talk about the computer software glitch, let's talk about things happening in California. I understand that the press very shortly after 8 o'clock, the voter roll closed. Call the election results. Do you remember how long after the voting place closed that they actually called the result of the California election?
Yes, 6 minutes. It's exactly 6 minutes after the poll closed at 8 o'clock. They
6 minutes.
That President.
Wow.
Hello. Yeah, they actually 6 minutes. 8:06. on November 3rd, 8:06 p.m. here in California time, they announced that Biden has already won the 55 electoral college vote. And it was kind of shocking because, we do expect California to go to Biden, but, any responsible reporter shouldn't have reported so quickly. But anyway, that's what happened.
So how many people actually voted to Trump in California?
2016, we have 4.5 million. And last I checked, just a few days ago, is at 4.8. So we do have, 300,000. But I really think we have a lot more than 4.8 million people who voted for Trump this year. I'm the grassroots campaign guy for Donald Trump here in California as well. The reception that we saw in 2020 is so much more than 2016. So I really think we should have at least 5.5 million or even 6 million people who have voted for Trump.
So, Peter, what's the number on 2016?
2016 was 4.5 million.
4.5. Yeah.
Wow.
And so, Peter, let me ask you a question. What is the total amount of people in California who voted?
That number, so we have 40 million residents. I think we have 18 million registered voters here in California. Again, I don't know the exact number, but it's in that neighborhood.
So even though the president managed to get, the number you mentioned, I would understand why they would call the election fairly quickly on the amount of people that would vote Democratic.
Well, but it only takes them 6 minutes to count 4.5 million votes. I don't.
At least they have a reasonable time to count it. 6 minutes.
I'm pretty sure they guesstimated I don't think they counted all the votes, which is Peter's point, right?
They didn't even bother. It was just automatic, just like New York. So,
we can't make any complaint here in California. But however, you just mentioned, Peter, that you believe there should have been a lot more votes for President Trump. What happened to those votes? Do you guys have any analysis?
I think what happened is because the number that first came out was after the initial votes that shows up, how many people voted for Trump were tallied prior to the election, right? The absentee ballots. So Republicans this year, in particular, go to the polls and voted in person. So there's a lot of late come-in votes that actually flipped quite a few congressional seats. So it's looking quite well for Republican Party this year in many congressional seats. But, I got to mention, President Trump's tweet this morning, so I'm going to read that to you, is that Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide. So I'm sure there are some of them here in California. So, and data analysis found that 221,000 Pennsylvania votes were switched from Trump to Biden, and 941,000 Trump voters were deleted. And a state using Dominion voting systems switched 435,000 votes from Trump to Biden. And this is the quote from reporter Chanel Ryan at OAN News, which Trump retweeted this morning. So we are discovering the scale of the glitch, quote unquote glitch, and to see it's such a widespread glitch.
Peter, is there any independent proof that this actually took place other than the OAN report?
Oh, it will show up, and we're confident that through our lawsuits, because everything we're focusing on all the lawsuits, because America is a country runs by laws and orders. So we are confident that with our lawsuits, all those evidence will be shown to the world to see.
2 days ago, Steve Bannon, in his war room, he has a broadcasting, he interviewed Giuliani. Giuliani actually said that in the show, that's when he was interviewed by Bannon, he actually mentioned that they have whistleblowers from Dominion voting system.
Wow.
Now, he's using plural, people. Now, not meaning, my understanding, it wouldn't be just a single whistleblowers. Mm-hmm. They will have more than one.
Well, you'd have to have more than one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
how many across the country does anybody in this discussion right now know how much Dominion voting system is used across the country, and how many precincts?
How many states use that? 30?
I check. I found from Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it's reliable, but they say it's being used for more than 30. It's being used in more than 30 states, and pretty much all the swing states use that. And for example, in Michigan, now New York Times say that Michigan only have 6 counties using Dominion. But however, there's another article that I read. It says there was 69 counties in Michigan that use Dominion voting system.
No,
so all,
the system, who decided which system use?
I think that each county can actually decide what they want to use, but I'm not sure if
so
there is
they
overall.
Is it made in China?
Well, based on
hardware,
report,
it's a system, like hardware and software.
Well, apparently it's not all of it's not entire system that's made in China. Based
the way
on
I understand, there are components.
Yeah,
Chinese made components in the hardware.
What about software?
We don't know. So, but however, the Bloomberg.
So we don't really know at this point.
Right.
We don't really know at this point whether Dominion's voting software system is corrupting our votes or not. We have to wait and see. And I would assume, Peter, that even here in California, they will be checking the vote counts.
Hey, Peter.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. You're saying yes, absolutely. We are checking all the vote counts. However, right now the focus, of course, are in the battleground states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, even in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Peter, let me ask you, who has the power to control the Dominion voting system? I mean, it's an American company, right? Someone must own the company, right?
I believe it's owned and run by Nancy Pelosi's son, right? If I'm not mistaken. I mean, they have majority shares of that company.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, that'll raise your eyebrows, won't it, nationwide? Even if you are a Democrat, that does raise your eyebrows. That a partisan family, and I can only
you would see they
would have that kind of sway over the government.
And also they were associated with the Chinese company. It's some components or whatever parts.
So basically, they make the decision which part of the software or hardware, it could be imported from China, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how the inner workings of that whole thing works. I only heard about them this election cycle. In fact, just a few days ago. So, yeah.
Well, wow. It's a little, when I liken the voting technology and the voting machines, I liken them in my own brain to automatic teller machines, right? and there's a couple of companies, only about 2 or 3, that supply all the automatic teller machines on the planet. There's not that many companies that make those things.
So that's why I think it's really understandable when a Trump campaign called Georgia to hand count all the votes.
Now, in all fairness, we have to say that even if they hand count all the Georgia votes and they all go for Trump, and Trump wins Georgia, he still right now would be behind.
Well, it depends.
Way behind.
Well, depends on which media you're using, right? Epoch Times right now call that Trump has 232 while Biden have 227. So Trump is already ahead of Biden at this moment based on based on what's already settled, the states.
Well, I guess it depends who you talk to.
The other meeting, they never reported.
Yeah,
that's I'm wondering why.
Well, why? That's why you need to go read the Epoch Times.
Well, and also the other thing too is we have to remind people that even though several media outlets have predicted the outcome of the election one way, the only entity that counts is the Electoral College Committee when they count the votes and allocate the delegates.
And after all the states, their Secretary of State actually certify.
That's correct.
Certify. See, I think the mistake made by our media this year is in the history of the United States, we never had so many states that's so close within 1 to 2% of difference for the two candidates.
Yeah, so
they're kind of like jump into it too early to make the call. They should just have wait a little longer.
Well, we have a long history.
The meeting has no right to do that.
Well, they have the right.
They cannot say announce that certify the elected president. I don't think it's illegal.
I have one word for you. Dewey. Remember him? He was predicted to be the winner when the newspaper said, Dewey wins. And they count the rest of the votes overnight, and then pretty soon it's not Dewey winning. So, we have a history in our media of occasionally calling it wrong. So,
like in 2000, I mean, it took 37 days, right?
Yeah, that's right, 37 days.
So, my last question, Peter, to you: do you think United States should conduct an investigation of this Dominion voting system with parts in China? Should we? Do we have a reason to believe that Chinese Communist regime actually possibly play a role in the voter fraud here in the United States in the 2020 election?
I would say more of a Democrat Party versus the CCP. I think Democrat Party plays a much bigger role than the CCP, I think.
All right. Thank you very much, Peter, for being with us, and good luck on your continuing campaign, and we'll invite you back later.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Peter.
So
Thank you, Peter.
All right, good to be on. Thank you. Good day.
Bye-bye.
So we're going to have another guest after Peter. His name is Michael Alfaro.
Yeah, we're getting him on the line right now. So let's lay out the question here. Obviously, our country is currently in turmoil because we don't know who our next president will be officially. We've had several media outlets call it and say, okay, this and the one candidate is trying to move ahead and set up a transition team and all the rest of that. But we do have the current sitting president not conceding yet, and they're still going to have a recount in at least Georgia, and it looks like the Pennsylvania election will be looked at. And then there is this story in the news yesterday and today about Dominion voting systems, which some of the components appear to have been manufactured in China. We don't know about the software portion of this particular voting system, and it's apparently in use in like 30 states.
Yep.
So this does, even if you're fairly convinced that Mr. Biden won the election, and many of the media outlets in our country are convinced, including things like the Associated Press, but even though the outcome for some people looks fairly certain, it would seem to me that we would want to look into this particular situation a little more closely. Only because if not for this election, but for the future of our electorate, because of the fact that we don't know enough about this company or the components in the software, in the hardware, or the software itself. Have I laid this up correctly?
I think you're absolutely right, Bill. And then also for everyone's information, Dr. Shiva, the famous MIT scientist and arguably the inventor of email system. The inventor of email, right? Arguably, he's the inventor of the email system, and he put an over 1 hour long program that he made for himself. That based on his analysis, he believed there is a systematic switch of votes from Trump to Biden during the presidential election.
See, I'm with several talk show hosts around the country. I'm fairly. I want our system to work. Okay, so I don't want to believe that it's so corrupt that there's something wrong with it. However, I do want factual information to decide who our next president's going to be.
That's correct.
So
we all want
we have that investigation.
Well, that's his own analysis. He's arguably the inventor of email system, and he's put up on YouTube channel. Now, just keep in mind, Dr. Shiva, Shiva, that's an MIT scientist, MIT PhD, and arguably the inventor of email system. And he said he has done a pretty comprehensive analysis, and he believed there is a switch of the votes from Trump to Biden. Now,
I'm told by our producer that we're having some trouble getting the second guest on the telephone.
Yeah. Let's just continue our discussion here. Hopefully, he can join us.
We do have a phone caller that's called in. Tony from Castroville. I'll put Tony up on the electric radio. Hello, Tony.
Hey, I just wanted to mention that I honestly don't think it matters who the next president is, because, I mean, the Federal Reserve, they just printed $7 trillion, so taxes is going up regardless of who's president. Just wanted to say that.
Well, when the United States government, they have tried, the current administration has tried to keep, to get some money to people when they really needed it. And, the fastest way to do that is to print it and send it out and worry about the consequences down the road
later,
a little bit.
Because of they don't want to see the economy collapse.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, but the thing is that's artificial. It's not real economy growth. It's it's printing money, and the people got to pay for it later. So it's really irrelevant who's the sitting president's going to get blamed, but the next president it's just going to get kicked down. The can's going to get kicked down the road, and taxes is going up whether people like it or not. The GOP, they're going to take the Senate, but I bet Biden's probably going to win. But either way, another stimulus is going to come, and taxes is going to get even higher. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you for your
thanks
for being optimistic.
Yeah, your optimistic outlook there.
No, it's not. It's not about being optimistic. This is factual, because $7 trillion
Well, thank you for being optimistic about the second stimulus plan. Check. I think a lot of people is waiting for that.
That's right.
Well, it shouldn't be called a stimulus. It should be called a sedative for the economy, because it's like a drug addict who needs more drugs, right? You got to keep giving it more money, but it's just fake. It's just giving it more addiction to the drug.
No,
and it makes it worse.
Now, let me ask you, do you think we should investigate the possible involvement of the Chinese government in the voter fraud of a U.S. election?
I think that's a generalization, because the global economy is so complex. It's like you would go down the rabbit hole and go to every other country is connected in some way or another, whether you like it or not. I wouldn't say I'd pin it all on China. I mean, the U.S. dollar's attacked almost every single other currency in the whole world. Hong Kong dollar, the baht, the yen, the yuan. It's all. And China has 3 currencies: the renminbi,
No, we're not talking about the connection. We're talking about the possible handling of a Chinese regime that's through the software. So they actually switch the votes from one candidate to another candidate in the U.S. election. Do you think we should conduct investigation on that?
No, I don't think so, because it's just going to waste more taxpayer money.
So why they wasted so much money for the Russian?
Well, I don't get it, right? Because back in in the last 2 years, remember the Russian gave the Robert Mueller report that's cost the taxpayers $32 million. It went nowhere. But now we have really people talk about it. You know, tens of thousands of votes it was switched from one candidate to another. Now, but if a Chinese regime can actually change the result of an election, imagine what else they can do.
Yeah, that would be
shouldn't that kind of investigation? It's worse to do it.
But hold on, that's speculating. That's all speculation, though. I mean,
that's why I need to investigate.
Let me ask you something, Tony. Did you vote?
I did.
All right. Do you think your vote was counted correctly?
I don't know, but I have to vote in order to complain, right?
Well, on that note, Tony, we appreciate the call. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Bye.
All right.
Well, there you go. So that this Tony's call actually, although somewhat disturbing to me, does point something out, and really what it's pointing out to me is the fact that we have a lot of people who are A, very concerned about the election, or B, they don't care. They're so jaded they don't care.
Or at least they will care because they want the right to complain. Tony, thank you, Tony, for calling. Anyway, it's a good point.
We have Mike in Santa Cruz who is also called. Mike, you're on KSCO. Thanks for calling China Uber Alice.
Hi guys, great show today. I love this whole series, and I'm really happy to hear. It's so valuable for people to hear your perspectives coming from China. So I think it's just a really great show to air, and I love when I catch it.
All right, we appreciate you calling. Do you have a question? What's your thoughts? Do you think China interfered with our election, and we're never going to know?
I think I don't think we can know until we have people look at the source code, because you have to see how the program works before you can comment on that. But can server intercept the messages before they go to another server and modify them? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we just have to see, did that happen or not? And if it did, who was behind it? Because the Democrats could have farmed it out to China. China could have done it on their own in parallel with the Democrats doing it on their own. We just don't know. But I voted, I'm a registered Republican for the first time in my entire life. I was always liberal, but liberals, to me, they abandoned the working class and embraced identity politics. All this Marxist talk about destroying the nuclear family, doing away with private property, doing away with private education, and doing away with the police, that's insane talk. So nobody in their right mind would vote for them.
Well, and certainly, if you're for a person who wants to protect society in general, you don't want to unfund. Look, I can understand maybe sending resources to different ways to help people, community, that sort of thing. But to take money away from police departments is insanity.
That is true.
Right.
That is true. I think a lot of middle class will agree with that. We don't want a community without safety.
This is the law and order society.
That's right.
How can you have police?
Well, it is kind of what sets us apart from other places, isn't it?
Against the police.
Yep.
That's totally wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you agree with to investigate it? This.
Absolutely. There's widespread proof of rampant voter fraud. Dead people voting, ballots with just Joe Biden's vote and nobody else's on them.
See, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about all of your statement. I know there's got to be. Look, when you have millions of people all vote in one election, there's going to be some hanky-panky going on.
Well,
but I don't know if it's widespread, and I certainly don't know.
It's widespread.
Well, okay. Like I said, I would love. I would have to see the proof, and if I do see proof of widespread fraud, then we're in serious trouble.
Yeah, I think most of us just waiting to see the evidence.
That's why we had to agree to have investigated. So don't spend the money. We don't care. We don't have to. That's wrong.
Yeah, we need to investigate, and then we all waiting for the approve of evidence that come out. And I think American people will ask those questions again when they really see the real evidence.
Yes,
no doubt about it.
We need evidence, and then when I believe the evidence is going to show massive voter fraud, and then we're going to have a new way to vote that prevents a lot of it. That's what I believe.
Already show a lot.
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing if we can improve the system. Hey, we appreciate the call. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys all for a great show. Thank you.
All right, I believe we have now Michael, our guest.
Michael Alfaro?
Yes.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. Great to have you. Michael Alfaro is Chief Campaign Financial Officer for Trump Campaign 2020. And hey, Michael, welcome to spend some time with us and our audience. Yeah, I understand we did have some difficulties technical difficulties connect you. So we already talked about a little bit about the tweet from President today, as well as the Dominion voting system. So
can you tell us a little bit about the Dominion voting system and how it has recently in the last 2 days come to such prominence in the press?
Sure, I can comment a little bit that I know, but one thing I would say is that we don't have the definite answer yet. I think that the campaign and the legal team still has to do some more research and dig into this. I'm not buying one bit that it was just a glitch or that it just by pure chance there was a mistake that 6,000 votes slipped over to Joe Biden from President Trump in Michigan. And so I will say this, we are, not only deploying over 1,000 attorneys to prosecute every fraud, every incident that we receive, but we're also hiring contractors to go in and NSA and the CIA to kind of overlook and make sure that nothing internally or externally is rigging our election against the will of the American people. And so I would say this: we're only 5 or 6 days in, and look what we have discovered. I mean, we were prepared for everything. However, it's just too early. It's just too early. And before you go to litigation, you don't want to let them know what your strong right punch or left hook is in any kind of legal battle or any kind of fight. So not all the information is going to be forthcoming. And to most of us in the Trump side, we never once believed in the media. So why are we going to believe in the media now? When you look at this President Trump, in the past 40 years of all presidents, right? Past 40 years, every single president has declared war on a country, a physical war. But President Trump's the only president to not create a physical war. And look what he gets for this. He gets a rigged election. They said, he was guilty for the Stormy Daniels dossier. It was all about Russia hoax, and the list goes on. But I believe the law's on our side. That's why we saw that quick victory that we just got from Pennsylvania today. It's not fair and it's very dangerous.
So, Michael, what was the victory you talk about? Excuse my ignorance. I didn't. I was not updated to what you talk about.
Oh, so in the courts of Pennsylvania, at the Supreme Court, one of the judges ruled that those votes that was casted 3 days as extended on top of the extension was considered illegal and unconstitutional. So 10,000 votes will most likely be removed immediately, if not more. which brings Pennsylvania a lot closer to us for victory. And basically what happened is, everyone knows when you go to high school and you take your basic civics course, each government has their own power, right? So no one goes to the courts and expecting the judge to establish the law. That's not what the judge does. The judge is supposed to apply the law. We have state legislators who establishes the law. So what's happening, what we're seeing play out in most of these states, is that we're having the local judges and the courts are establishing law from the bench, which is unconstitutional because it's the legislators that's responsible for establishing the law. It's the judges who are supposed to apply the law. So to make it very simple for everyone to understand, it's like the World Series. Dodgers was playing the Tampa Bay Rays, and everyone knew we're going into a pandemic. Everybody knew that we had to make some, altercations to the rules, and so they did so. But what happened was during the game, it's like the umpire coming out in the ninth inning saying, "Oh, just because Tampa Bay Rays and the Dodgers baseball players tested positive for COVID, we're going to extend it for 3 more innings." Everyone will be mad because then Tampa Bay Rays comes back and wins, the World Series, and everyone says it's not fair. Why is it not fair? It's because the Major League Baseball League established the rules, and then it was the umpire that decided to change the rules during the game. And so that's what's happening right now before us.
Hey, Michael. I heard hello, Michael.
Yes.
I watched a video that was on the YouTube that Giuliani was interviewed by Steve Bannon, and actually Giuliani in the interview actually said that they already have whistleblowers from Dominion voting system that will come forward to expose some of the inside information. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, we do have some whistleblowers that's going to be coming forward to talk about what they saw live in action. However, we're not just going to go and put all of our chips in one basket or all of our eggs in one basket. We're taking more bigger measures by, like I said, we're hiring consultants to go ahead and look into the voter fraud and possibly if there's any type of hacking inside or outside.
Michael, we're coming up on the end of the hour. Is it possible for you to hang with us for a few more minutes after the news in the next hour?
Possibly, but I got another show to jump on, so I'll see what I can do.
All right, we'll try to hold you over. We're at the end of our hour, and we're going to have to go to another a news update. But hang on, we'll see if we can get you to stay on for a few more minutes. This is China Uber Alice on AM 1080 KSCO. Go to our website and check out ChinaUberAlice.com. Sign up for our newsletter. You'll get all kinds of information about the show and the last episodes we've had on. But stay tuned. We have Town Hall News coming up in just a moment. It's approaching 3 o'clock at KSCO Santa Cruz.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. A Pennsylvania judge ruled in favor of the Trump campaign, ordering that the state may not count ballots where the voters needed to provide proof of identification and failed to do so by November 9th.
After the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that mail-in ballots could be accepted 3 days after Election Day, Pennsylvania Secretary of State Kathy Boockvar submitted guidance that said proof of identification could be provided up until November 12th, which is 6 days from the ballot acceptance deadline. That guidance was issued 2 days before Election Day. Judge Mary Hannah Levitt said in a court order that Boockvar lacked statutory authority to issue the guidance insofar as the guidance purported to change the deadline.
Correspondent Bernie Bennett. This was in line with the Trump campaign's argument, which was that there was no basis in the state's law to extend the identification deadline and that Boockvar did not have the power to unilaterally change it. As coronavirus cases increase across the country, some states are imposing new strictures. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says new mask requirements are being issued for businesses across that state.
Each business will be required to post a face covering requirement sign at all public entrances to the store. 2, each store will be responsible for ensuring that customers and employees are wearing masks.
If a business receives more than one violation, it must close for 24 hours. Ada dumped torrents of blustery rain on Florida's west coast as it moved over Florida after making landfall north of the heavily populated Tampa Bay area Thursday morning. Mo Taggart says she left her sailboat for a safer place to sleep when Ada passed by Gulfport in southwest Florida.
So we decided to book a hotel right down the street, and it got real bad. We started getting messages that boats were on shore, and then, there's like 6 boats on shore. All of a sudden I get a message that my boat is on shore.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 317 points. More at townhall.com.
KSCO has some of the most intelligent listeners on the planet, and most intelligent minds want to know, what are my options for taking Social Security benefits? Do I need an estate plan? When, where, and how do I enroll in Medicare? If you want answers to these and other hot financial topics, listen to Money Moves. Host Pamela Fugit-Hedrick and her guests have tips and tools you'll need so you can manage your money effectively. That's Money Moves, 7 p.m. Thursdays here on KSCO.
This is Dean Sutton, Law of the Land. Give me a call. I'm a lawyer, but you can like me anyway. We have a call-in talk show Thursdays from 8 to 9 on KSCO. You get a chance to talk to a lawyer. No fancy lawyer office, no coffee, no bill. Give me a call, and we'll try to answer your questions. You can call in with comments. You can call in with questions. We have talk about events of the day. Law of the Land, Thursdays from 8 to 9 on KSCO. You get a chance to talk to a lawyer on the air.
Here's the townhall.com business brief.
Stocks ending lower on Wall Street, pulling major indexes further below the record highs they flirted with a day earlier as coronavirus infections continue to mount. The S&P 500 lost ground, a rare stumble in what's been a banner month for the benchmark index. Many analysts along Wall Street are still optimistic that the market can climb higher and set more records amid hope a vaccine may be coming for COVID-19. But several risks remain that could trip up markets in the near term. Rising above them, all is the continuing pandemic. On Wall Street, the Dow dropped 317 points today to finish at 29,080. The Nasdaq was off 76 to 11,709. The S&P 500 down 35 points to 3,537. New York oil off 45 cents to $41 a barrel. With business, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Retailers and carriers are preparing for an online holiday shopping surge that could tax shipping networks and lead to delivery delays.
FedEx and UPS are ramping up their holiday hiring while expanding their weekend operations and asking retailers to use their shipping network when there's more slack. Stores are pushing their customers to buy early to smooth out the shipping peaks in the weeks leading up to Christmas. And they're further expanding services like curbside pickup to minimize online shipping.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting. Retailers, many of which were already using their physical stores as shipping hubs, are now designating some of their locations to handle even higher volumes. Primary provider Cano Health will receive a nearly $1.5 billion infusion as investors push deeper into a growing form of care delivered to Medicare Advantage patients. The company says it will merge with a publicly traded special purpose acquisition company, Jaws Acquisition Corporation. Town Hall.
KSCO News Talk time is 3:05. I'm Sam Quinton with your King of the Hill traffic and weather. Starting off in Santa Cruz, Highway 17, once again southbound. At the Ocean Street off-ramp, we have a traffic collision there involving one vehicle, and units are on the scene. No injuries reported there. In Hollister-Gilroy, State Road 25 at Highway 156, we have a traffic collision. Injuries reported, ambulance requested, and units are en route to the scene that just hit the board a few moments ago. Highway 9 is clear. Highway 17, other than previously mentioned, is accident-free moving at the limit. Highway 1 southbound between Soquel Drive and 41st Avenue. You're going to find a patch of slow-and-go traffic through that area. Otherwise, everything is moving at the limit in both north-south north and southbound directions. 129, 152, they are clear. Highway 101, southbound between Coyote and Madrone, you'll also find a patch of slow-and-go traffic through that area. That's liable to get bigger before it gets smaller. Your Central Coast forecast for this evening, partly cloudy with some patchy fog, expecting overnight lows of 41 degrees. Tomorrow, 30 to 60% chance of rain and some patchy fog. Looking for a high of only 59 degrees tomorrow. Right now, outside the KSCO studios, it's 65 degrees. Now let's return to the second hour of China Uber Alice.
That's our news update. Thank you, Sam. We're back on the second hour of China Uber Alice, and we're going to go right back to our guest who was kind enough to stay through the break. Michael Alfaro is with us on the KSCO Live line. And, Michael, we wanted to just wrap this up with you before you have to go to your next interview. Obviously, you have been watching this, and this whole situation has sort of popped up in the news in front of us. What's your overall view of what's going to happen in the next week or two?
Well, there's a lot yet to be discovered. We just started the legal battle, and we're barely in the second inning, and we gained tremendous progress. But the one thing that I want to tell the American people and our viewers is we need to find out the who to the missing. This is a big puzzle, but we need to find out who intentionally did this to the president. Who was the one that was behind the computer glitch, or was it a hack? Was it a foreign entity? Was it from Russia? Was it from China? Was it from, who started it? Who initiated this? And so I think that's where the legal team has to dig deep and figure out who that is, and then we can go ahead and find out a whole lot more. So I just tell everyone, hang tight, be patient. This fight is far from over. There's a reason why, Joe Biden, even though he's presumed to be the president, there's a reason why he is not involved and he's not allowed to in a national security intelligence briefings. It's because there is something that is very, very scary that what took place and what transpired in our elections, and we have to get to the bottom of it. We have to see who's colluding. We have to see where is it from the deep state or is it from an international power that deliberately harmed President Trump's reelection efforts. So we got to get to the bottom of it, and right now we are en route to getting to the root, but we're not there yet. And I think that before we move forward with any court case, or any claim, we have to make sure that the law is on our side and that the evidence is what's going to dictate the outcome of this election. So what you hear on the news, it's not what reflects what we have, and not every report has been reported to the public at large as well. So there are a lot of things we're keeping in our back pocket, and we'll reveal when the time is appropriate.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. Really pleasure to have you in our program, and hopefully you will come back to be with us and our audience in the future.
No, thank you so much, and it's a really pleasure of mine. I'm one of the top fundraisers in the country. I've been so grateful to be the top fundraiser. But I've been to Taiwan. I've been to China. I taught English actually in Taiwan for a little bit. 我是英文老师, so I
very good.
Culture. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Great.
But I love the Asian culture and the community, the food. I'm glad to see what we had record-breaking heights of the most Asian Americans participate for the Republican Party. But more importantly, we need the elders in the community to share the stories of what it's like to survive from a communist regime and to lose those freedoms. And so I'm just very honored to be on this show, and I want to come back. So thank you again. I'm sorry I had to rush it, but I appreciate everything. So 谢谢你 and 我on.
Oh, thank you.
Michael.
Thank you. That's Michael
We will talk to you
Alfaro,
soon, Michael.
one of the chief financial officers from Trump campaign. So we heard the story, and then we had two special guests today. And just for your information, if you have not been updated, the computer glitch started from Old County in Michigan. What happened is in this it's a county really pretty much a Republican county, and what happened is the initial computer result shows that Vice President Biden won this county by 62%. 62.5%.
Wow.
Yeah, but which make that one of the clerk working in the voter registration really feel bizarre. I mean, this is really a red county, but a vice president won it by 62% of the vote. So what happens? They went back to check, and they kind of like recounted themselves, and they found that actually President Trump won the county by 5,000 votes. So that's what happened. That's how this entire...
So it's an 11,000 vote swing. Right?
Yeah.
So that's it.
So that's really how this computer glitch come out to the public site, and everyone is start looking for and asking questions and looking for answers. So that's what happened. That's how the whole thing started. And then people start searching back, and they found that this Dominion voting system, which actually attended to a congressional public hearing back in January, and because they raised concern about the China's technology and its voting equipment made in China, and it's being used in the U.S. elections.
Well, it's quite a story, isn't it? And once again, I think it's too soon to go over the barrel and say that the whole thing is going to change, because we don't know that.
That's correct.
What we do, I think what anybody can agree upon that's listening to the program is this: we need the facts.
We need the evidence.
We need evidence, and we need to know. Once we get some evidence and we can backtrack on it, we can do some good investigation. We can figure out what happened.
That's right.
At this point, it might have been a.
So who's going to come out?
Yeah,
So
whatever's going to come out. And both of our guests said they weren't sure if it was just a glitch, or if it was a mistake, or if it's an actual really big problem. But
however, they do have the whistleblower from the Dominion voting system already.
But we have not heard from that.
That's right.
You mean the company making the company, the
corporation? The companies providing the voting system. Yeah, they already have.
And we haven't heard from them yet publicly.
That's
so we
right.
Don't know.
We will.
So we let's just wait, just be patient, and we will find out the answer soon.
Yes.
And hopefully it's not going to delay the electoral.
Well, as I understand it, don't they have to certify they have until November 20th to certify the election, correct?
14th.
14th?
Yeah. Well, actually, the Constitution required that every state to settle the election result and settle all the legal controversies by December the 8th. Now, if that's any state that you still have problems, then the state assembly or state house basically it's going to take over, and they have the right to take it over to assign the electoral votes of their
from
state.
That one state.
Yeah, from that one state.
Here we go.
Here
we go.
We
do have a telephone call. Estelle has called in. Let's hear what she has to say. Estelle, you're on KSCO on China Uber Alice.
Oh, hi. Thank you for taking my call. Now, I've heard so many people calling and talking different situation. Only person that is in charge of this for President Trump is Jesus Christ. okay? He knows what he's doing because he put President Trump in there for 4 years. He picked President Trump. So whatever is going on, we do not know yet. But I believe that they should find out where and what this mistake has happened. And they have cheated President Trump. So,
well, they haven't cheated him yet, Estelle. Let me just say he's still the president, and we haven't had an official declaration as to who's won the, who's won the Electoral College has not said who has won the.
Right.
So technically, he has not yet been cheated.
Well, for so many things are going on. Okay, for 4 years. The people hated that man. The demons. It's like an evil spirit, satanic spirit moved through America. That is what this terrible negativity has not done any good. It is not President Trump that has done this. It is the people, the American people. They have not appreciated what this man did for us.
Well, Estelle, let's wait and see.
Well, don't worry. God has His plan.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll see what happens. Estelle, we appreciate the call. Thank you. It is a situation that has many people concerned.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is the first time in my lifetime. I know it happened before, but many years ago. But this is the first time in my lifetime that we have not had, at the end of an election cycle, the one guy says, "Oh well, okay,
I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm conceding.
I'm conceding."
Yeah.
It took Al Gore a while. Well, after the Florida thing, he conceded on the night of the election, but then later on, because of the hanging chads in Florida and the rest of all that nonsense that went on,
he recanted his.
He recanted his thing for 2-3 weeks, and then he finally said, "Okay, I'm not going to call you again. You have won the election."
Well, after pretty much the recount, right?
Yeah.
So, but now we are facing an entirely different issue. But however. Think about this. In the history of the United States, there were three times that both candidates did not get more than half of the electoral vote. So their presidency was decided by the U.S. Congress to vote. So that's one kind of scenario we probably will have. That's always there.
Now, fortunately, the people who came up with our Constitution and our way of government in the first place thought about all this. And they set up the system, and then now what happens if this happens? Okay, now we got to figure this out. But at least they figured out, if the president dies or becomes incapacitated, what happens? If we lose a Supreme Court justice, what do we do? If the vice president is sick, what do we do? If somebody gets impeached, like Nixon was, what do we do? I mean, there's a whole bunch of.
Right.
Well, Nixon actually didn't get impeached. He just quit.
Yeah. Well, shouldn't we feel that we are grateful to our founding fathers?
Oh, absolutely.
I think we should, right?
Absolutely.
They got all these things laid out. They got it all figured out more than 200 years ago.
What happened?
Yeah. So I know I've talked to a lot of people. They are concerned about what's going to happen, but in reality, we have a set of instructions on what to do pretty much for everything. Even if the election is contested past the point where, the Electoral College has to, have some information to make a decision. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of changes coming in next few weeks. But just let's wait. Let's wait until the facts and the evidence come out itself, and then we all will have. It's one thing that's great. It's we do have the transparency here.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
and our question for today, if you've just joined us, legal challenges from the Trump campaign have raised voter fraud issues caused by in parentheses, glitches, software glitches, at least that's what it looked like. Dominion voting system has been the focus of this particular controversy. This is a company that none of us really knew about until 3 days ago. But
it's a public-owned company?
No. I don't think so.
Private owned?
I think it's private owned, but however, the only thing that I read was back in January there was a congressional hearing that's attended by 3 biggest companies of doing the control, doing the voting machines, and then one of them it's a Dominion, which have been the focus of the last few days because President Trump and his campaign claimed that the tens of thousands of votes, there was a vote to Trump and got switched to Biden. Now, there is no evidence come out yet. That's just a statement from Trump campaign. We are waiting for those evidence to come out.
Yeah, correct.
All right, let's take a call from Julie in Freedom. Julie, you're on KSCO.
Hello. I was just doing my little investigation on voting machines, and I learned that in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Florida, they use wireless modems that connect to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 of those that are, I guess the 3 companies that are tied to that is Dominion. One is, the other 2 are election systems and software, and then Hart InterCivic.
Yeah, the three largest voting machine vendors are, one is Dominion voting system that we have been discussing about. Another one is called election system and software, and the third one is called Hart InterCivic. So there's
and Ivanka Trump, she actually purchased some voting machine software from China.
Mm-hmm.
In October 2018.
Did they find anything?
Well, no. Well, no one's looking for that. No one's looking for that yet. Yeah.
Do you know why?
Do you know why?
Do you know why?
They're saying that it's a. Yeah, no one knows because you wouldn't want to say that out loud. But if you use those, yes.
So let me ask you this: Do you know why Ivanka Trump bought the China machines?
They go good with a bag. I'm not sure.
Oh well, it'd be interesting to find out her motivation because not too many people buy.
I know exactly what she could do with those machines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
We're using those. So 80% of those machines, of those 3 those machine companies, are purchased from the United States. So we use one of the 3 of those from China.
Yeah, right. That's right. Those are the 3 machines that are certified for the elections. All right. Thank you for the call, Julie.
This is the part first of all, thank you for calling us and participate in the discussion. Now, this is the part I entirely don't understand. Okay, I can understand why our face mask was made in China. So at the time we need it, we don't have it. But I entirely understand the reason. Face mask is something, right? Small items made in China, cheap, right? And we can get them fairly cheap. But I just entirely do not understand why. We know China is a threat, and we just literally choose to use the voting machines and systems or components of this crucial system from China. I mean, are we looking for a civil war? If we don't get our election results settled, that's going to be a civil war.
I can answer the question. Several weeks ago on this program, we had a caller call up and give the answer to a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same answer this time, today. Money.
It's money.
It's the answer.
Wow, I think. Well, think about this. Are we really crazy to the level that we actually trust the communist regime in China? We can use their our voting machine, the crucial element of our democracy that's made in China under the overseen by the communist regime in China. Are we crazy? I mean, this is the part I entirely do not understand. I mean, we're not talking about the civil war of 1860s. Think about what happened in the 1860s during the civil war. You have the single shot rifle, right? You shot it, you have to reload it again. Now think about if we have a civil war today, what are we going to have? We have aircraft carrier, we have fighter jets, we have missiles, and we have nuclear weapons. And are we trying to make ourselves in trouble? I mean, this great nation of United States can entirely destroy itself if there is another civil war. But why do we try to use the voting machine that's manufactured in China? I'm just entirely don't understand. And tell me if you understand any reason behind this.
Yeah, it's a question. Look, if you have an answer for us, if you have an answer, 479-1080 is the number in the 831 area code. Give us a call. But I happen to agree with Nan on this one. Why on infrastructure that's critical to the country? Look, I'm pretty sure I'm not an expert. I know I'm not an expert, but I can make a pretty good blanket statement here. I'm pretty sure that on nuclear powered submarines that we operate with nuclear weapons on them, I'm pretty sure all the parts
they're not made in China.
They're not made in China.
I hope so.
I'm pretty sure.
I hope so.
I don't know. Maybe you will discover more shocking things.
I don't know.
But again, do you think we need to conduct an investigation to this?
Well, I'd sure like
that's the question of today.
Well, I'd sure like to know if it's possible to retire. Nice word. Retire all the foreign-made voting software and hardware and replace it with stuff made here in this country.
Absolutely. Right.
And, by companies that don't employ Chinese spies. Can we do that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We should. Well, I think we're absolutely capable of doing that, but I just don't understand
why. Going to do or not?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Keep in mind, back in January, they already have a congressional public hearing about the concern of voting machine using the technology from China, and they didn't do anything about it.
Well, there you go. Dick in where's Dick? Dick is in Santa Cruz. You're on KSCO. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I think I have an answer for you why they use Chinese software on all our voting machines. There are 33 states, right? They're run by Democrats. That's an open question. I'm not sure if they all are, but anyway, they're individually state-run elections officials running this. I assume they're Democratic states, and everything was rolled out through the DNC. And just like I said last time, well, I'm not sure if I said it on your program, that I think the DNC was in coordination with China way back when they released the coronavirus. I've said that, and they probably coordinated this too.
Well,
so that's your answer.
Okay. Well, the only problem with your answer, and I have no reason to believe you're not correct, but I will say this: 2 of the states we're talking about, where the votes were in question, were run by Republican.
Okay.
Republican administrations.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Michigan and Georgia, Wisconsin.
Well, all I can say is the deep state is also in the states, and the bureaucrats said, "Hey, this is great stuff."
See, I don't think there's anything this nefarious. I think what it boils down to is money. I think it boils down to who could provide the machines the cheapest.
We'll see.
So everything made in China. They can make the prime president of the United States.
Do you think United States should conduct investigation into this?
Of course.
Oh, okay,
just like what you were saying. I mean, really, what is our vote going to be worth after this election? I mean, I'm sorry I laughed, but it's so effed up, right? That what is our vote going to be worth if
Well, you have a very good point there.
Very good.
It's a very good point.
Really?
We really need to re-examine how we are conducting this maybe the most important part of American life is our election.
Yeah,
I know,
and we're just Americans just not serious enough. But there was many part of this election really make people laugh. I have a friend the other day. He make a joke to me. He said, "Well, look, every convenience store I go to buy alcohol, they wanted me to show my ID, but when I go to vote for president of the United States, I don't have to show my ID."
Really? Think about that.
It's a very good point.
It's absurd. Can I make one more point?
Yes,
sure,
of course.
All right. The thing that also bothers me very much over the last 4 years, other than the Democrats were so hard on us and put Trump through everything that never worked on him to get him out of office, and everybody's so touchy-feely about the way he talks. Big deal. I care about what he does, and we didn't go to war. He reduced the immigration, et cetera, et cetera. He did most of what he said he was going to do, and the country was exploding the economy before this coronavirus. But I want to make one point, and that is the Democrats have been saying, and all my Democratic friends go, "Oh, Trump, it's the end of democracy. It's the end of democracy." And I go, "What do you mean? What exactly do you mean?" Now, what we're looking at, if this is what we're thinking it is, what kind of like is in our face that it is, just like your guests there think it is, from China with experience, I would say this is the end of democracy.
Wow, I hope you're wrong.
Right.
I sincerely
you're
hope.
right.
Well, I do have confidence on our political system. That's established by our founding father. But I think we will defeat China if China actually did play a role in the vote of this direction. We will defeat them. I have no doubt about that. But thank you for calling, and thank you for being part of this discussion.
All right, let's take another call from Dave in Prunedale. Dave, you're on KSCO. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, great show you guys got going. Hey, the part that I don't understand about this is if you talk about conspiracy theories, you've got so many people involved with this, and yet nobody on the inside has rolled over yet. They haven't rolled over. The outside is looking in and starting to put the pieces together, but nobody on the inside has rolled over. If I was Trump, I'd offer $1 million to whistleblowers that turn evidence that can prove this, and I'd put out 20 of them. See what happens.
Well, like I said, that's a pretty good suggestion.
Money talk.
But
actually, you know what? The other day I saw the Texas Texas Lieutenant Governor actually put up $1 million already, looking for people to report
whistleblowers.
Yes,
that's great.
Well, that's Dave. That's not such a bad idea. Are you driving somewhere today?
Yeah, I'm in Prunedale right now, heading home.
Oh, okay. I was just hoping you were in a car and not in a wind tunnel.
No, sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that, I think every one of us should care. I mean, if China really have a role to play in our democracy, election system,
or Russia, or Iran, or any other country, I don't want anybody interfering in our elections.
That's right.
The elections are ours.
Right, and you think about it. Today's technology can do so much. They can literally. I mean, if we fix the system that's made it by them, they can just sit it.
Yeah.
In Beijing or any part of China, they can send some sort of a command and then let the algorithm to do the work.
Okay,
easily controlled.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you a sort of a rhetorical question, but not really. When you go to the automatic teller machine, do you trust it?
Yeah.
Okay, so do I. I even trust it because of the way I have my computer set up. I trust going in to look at my bank account on the internet because of all the passwords I got to do and all the checks and the balances that go on. So I even trust the internet to look at my money. Okay, here's the thing. If we can get the banks to the point where we trust them to go to the automatic teller machine or go to on the internet and look at how much money we have in our account. How come we can't have that same kind of trust in our vote? We should be able to get to the point where we can trust our vote.
Well, no, it's just pretty not. I think
this is the key. This is the key.
I say this voting system very obsolete. It's not updated. Our system.
Well, no, I understand. That's my point.
Yeah.
My point is, look, if we're going to spend all this money to recount votes and make sure everything's correct, can't we spend the money to make sure the equipment is up to date and is new?
Yeah, for the future.
For the future.
Next one.
Well, yeah, I think that money is absolutely worth to spend. But however, make sure it has nothing to do with any foreign country.
Absolutely.
I mean, make sure it should be made in USA.
And make sure the companies that don't have any spies.
That's right.
You know. Hey, listen, let's take another call from Flinks in Aptos. Flinks, you're on KSCO.
Hey, I wanted Trump to win, but you got to look at it this way. It's kind of like a football game, in my opinion. You have to have a big lead. If you want to win, you got to have a big lead, because there's always going to be stuff in the finite areas when things come down to the last second, and this was kind of a last-second game where maybe Trump or Biden called an official review and the officials come out and said, nope, that's an interception, I'm sorry. And then that team loses and they're like, oh, man, that ref blew it. Oh, the referee blew it. And I know this is kind of stupid to think of it this way, but like all the elections, every time someone wins by a nose hair, it is always fraud, and I think that's what really ruins democracy. And I don't think 71 million people that voted for Trump want democracy to end, and I don't think the 75 million that voted for Biden want democracy to win.
That's correct.
Flinks, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Flinks.
I don't think either side of the voters, the supporters from either campaign actually want our democracy to be destroyed.
No.
But I think, however, we are in this situation that we need to investigate and we need to prevent this kind of a situation to happen again in the future.
Well, you know, and the other thing that we haven't brought up on this program or any of the other recent shows, early on our program we mentioned this, but I think it's probably a good time to remember it again. The rest of the world looks at the United States as sort of we're the lighthouse, we're the beacon, you know? And when we fight in public, like we're doing now, it doesn't help us around the world, our perception by other countries. You know what I mean?
Not really. I think they're learning how to practice.
I think because we fight
democracy, you show people. Yeah,
this is good.
So I'm wrong. You guys think that because we are airing our dirty laundry in public.
Well, that's
is good. That's transparency.
Because that's a transparency. If you ask the people from China, we are
also
from the country that's none of
they
this
operate
will come
in the
up.
dark room.
See, this is why I have two co-hosts who have a different point of view than me, because Flink's left. Oh well, I was going to ask him what his opinion was, but the thing about it is, maybe this is the idea that makes our country as good as it is the fact that even the three of us, have a different opinion, right? It's a country where we can all get our opinion out there, and your opinion seems to make more sense than mine in this particular instance, so we'll go with your opinion.
Yeah. Feel free word and the speech, free speech and the democracy.
Yeah.
So it shows.
Although I do have a problem with that, when they have like a big, gathering of like the World Health Organization or something big like that, and they don't want the protesters to get too close, so they put them in the free speech zone behind the cyclone fence.
I saw I saw lots of places.
I'm sorry, but the entire United States is a free speech zone, and I'm not standing behind it.
That is correct.
I am not standing behind a cyclone fence. I'm sorry, you're not going to get me to do that. If I got a protest, I'm going to go right up to your door and yell at you, man. Because that's the way that's the number one thing about free speech. The only thing you can't do is yell a fire in a crowded room. That's not free speech. That's stupid.
Yeah, actually, we're not only seeing that here in the big organizations, even in some of the counties here in the United States, they have this like a New Citizen Day.
Yes.
They have the citizens swearing, and then you have all this. They have to put a free speech zone. So both parties can only go there. Any parties, actually political parties, will go there to recruit your new members, right? So you cannot go out of that. You cannot even go
only in the free speech zone.
I don't think when the original framers of our Constitution got together and said, okay, we're gonna have freedom of speech, and we're going to have this First Amendment, we're going to have the Second Amendment, we're going to have, and we're going to establish all these rules, and here's our country, right? It took them years, like 15 years, something like that, to finally get all the stuff in order, right, for the final draft of the Constitution. And I don't think they thought in those days that, okay, we're going to have a free speech zone behind the cyclone fence over here on the other side of the road. No, they thought the whole country is a free speech zone, and that's the way they thought it. But look, we have such a gift in this country, and we have been highlighting for the last couple of weeks what people don't have in China. We have in this country a gift of freedom. We have a gift of being able to say what we want pretty much, and unless we're just, out there to lunch, they don't generally haul us off and make us be quiet. But China and several other countries on this planet don't have those same protections. The citizens can't say what they want, as Amy has pointed out. In fact, they've made Amy say things she didn't want to say about her own family and about people they used a dog to try to get her to coerce her into doing the right thing, what they thought was the right thing. So we take a lot for granted here, and I'm hoping folks who are listening today understand our focus on this show is not to bang on any particular political party or particular outcome of an election, but rather we're worried about the bigger picture. We're worried about what's going to happen to our democracy if another country gets control.
Yeah, if Chinese communist regime gets a handle, to maneuvering the election.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the question. I'm going to be totally honest here and totally selfish. I don't want it someday to have my sister or my niece or one of my nephews have to be coerced like Amy was. I'm sorry, I don't want that. I just don't. And so if us talking about this on the radio wakes somebody up, we've done our job. We have a caller. Judy is in Live Oak. Hi, Judy.
Hi. I'm really enjoying your show and your callers and everybody having an open mind. Interesting that you just, you're talking about the whole thing we're fighting for is our freedom, Billy. And I don't think you spend as much time as a lot of us have. I wonder how much time you spent studying this, because I was up all night just to get a positive view. There's so much going on. But I guess the main thing I wanted to call about is to tell everyone this news, the people that are Trump supporters. Donald Trump this came across last night on Newsmax, reported last night. Mm-hmm. He just asked the American people to send a letter to demand, if they're interested, if they care, to demand a full audit of all 50 states and send it to the president at the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., 20500. Anyway, that's the zip. He will use this as evidence to the Supreme Court. He's asking all of us to send him hard copy letters as evidence we the people are demanding an audit. Please do this tomorrow. Have every registered voter in your household send a separate letter. We need to swarm the White House mailroom. Thank you. The above info was reported on Newsmax this evening. President Trump has been censored by Twitter, Facebook, etc., electronic mail. You know, you're talking about freedom of speech and freedom in this country. We're not going to have freedom. What's coming across now? It's frightening. My computer was down. I got it back. I've been up all night because I'm a true patriot and lover of humanity and this country, etc., in the world, and you guys. And I want Amy's email. I can't find it on China Uber Alice, but that's another thing before I get off, please. Anyway.
Oh, thank you, Judy. I totally agree with you, but just talking about the freedom of speech, I just recently, the reason I wanted to talk about in the radio, because, for years I always think pain is private. So I'm not really like to tell my tear-jerking story to the public, but now the reason I wanted to tell people is I just feel like this freedom of speech we had to defend on something. I come in 38 years now. I just feel like gradually losing that. Lots of things you cannot say. Just like 50 years ago, even now in CCP, they want me to write a memoir and talk about. They want me to say what they want to hear. But in here, lots of times you have to be politically correct. So I don't know. That's losing freedom of speech.
Well, I think
and then people repeating, like lots of news I listen, they just copy to each other, repeating. I say, what's going on? Only one voice?
Repeat it.
Yeah.
You just send the same thing.
Yeah, just said you call the 34-hour news cycle or whatever you call. Yeah, just same thing. So if they don't have a different voice in this country, I think freedom of speech is finished.
Well, not really. This is going to pull us up over into a new era of being. I mean, there's going to be a new bar for everything, in my opinion. Really, don't you think? But the thing I wanted to let Billy know is that Pelosi, she's, especially AOC, I can't find it yet right now because I'm trying to find online, but she's putting out stuff like they're making lists of Trump supporters. They're talking about banning, they're not being shy about it. You go online, Bill, you can find it.
Judy, the reason, I think my best,
trying to keep Trump supporters out of jobs. They're trying to ruin our lives. They want to come after people that have been patriots. This is going on. This is not going to be a free country if we let Biden. This is what. But Judy,
this is why we're doing this program. We're doing this program to show that there are nefarious people out there in other countries like China and Russia and various other places that want to get into our house. They want to.
For many years, it's been going on for centuries. It's communism.
But a lot of people didn't.
They're almost there. They've almost got us. It's close. They got it on our necks. We really have to take. Trump did everything he could. He did so much more than you know. Do you know what NAFTA was? He took NAFTA away. Hundreds and hundreds of farmers.
No, he renegotiated NAFTA. It still exists. It's
called
NAFTA.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, it's called NAFTA too, and it does exist. He had a big confab with Mexico. Then he had a big separate confab with Canada, and then he got everybody in the same room, and they had a big confab, and they came to a new agreement, and it's called NAFTA too, and it now governs our trade with China, with Mexico and Canada.
Okay, and then there's the crime bill that Joe Biden put through when he put a crime bill in that he passed a crime bill that made black men go to jail, prison, okay? And then Donald Trump wrote a new crime bill, and nobody ever talks about it. Do you know how many people have been let out of prison sentences for just minor stuff because there was just one offense? That's just two things they did. He has done so much for the world besides not creating another war. Thanks for letting me speak. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you for calling, Judy. We appreciate it. And call us back later on.
Email right now, please. Can I?
Amy, do you?
They didn't sign me an email yet.
Oh, they have not assigned it yet. Okay,
No.
Judy, we don't have the email for Amy yet. When we get it, we'll put it on the website. I'm sorry, I did not mean to cut you off. I pushed the button thinking you were done. I'm sorry. Mike in Monterey is, I think, probably going to be our last caller. I do have to take a commercial break before the end of the show here.
Oh, fantastic! How you both doing today? I just turned on to the program a few minutes ago and talking about freedoms and so forth. And I tell you, what scares me more than Biden is Klaus Schwab. I don't know if he's related to Charles Schwab, but anyways, Klaus Schwab out of Switzerland, the World Economic Forum, Global Reset, Great Reset.
Mm-hmm.
That scares. I don't know how familiar you are with it. I'm sure you know it to some degree. Look into it. Look what this guy has to say. All these developed countries are all in on it.
His first name is Klaus?
Klaus. Yeah.
Klaus.
Klaus as in Kevin. Klaus. Klaus Schwab. He's the head of the or director, or whatever you want to call it, the World Economic Forum. It's been around for like 50 years. But their plans, the global reset, great reset, interchangeable terms, all the new world order types. All these countries they're all in on it. I mean, all the European countries.
I'm unfamiliar with this, and looking at Non, he's unfamiliar with it as well. So we will do some research. But thanks for
check it out. I'm telling you, want to talk about freedom and what they have planned. And there's no conspiracy. They're very open about it. It scares the pants off of me. Check it out, and it would be a great show.
Like a bigger corporation.
Mike, we will. Thank you. Thank you for the call. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Boy, we get some great calls, hosts. The cool thing about doing radio programs like this is I learn stuff that I never, I don't know anything about Klaus. We'll find out.
On Klaus Schwab.
All right, I'm going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back to wrap up today's program on China Uber Alice. Stay with us.
The versatile Kubota B-Series is a do-it-all tractor. Run powerful attachments that can be easily switched out. It features a hydrostatic transmission and is simple to maintain. The Kubota B-Series. It makes the hard work look easy. Visit C&N Tractors today or call to schedule a demo. C&N Tractors makes it easy to get a Kubota. C&N Tractors in Watsonville and Paso Robles.
Give us your tough jobs.
I'm Jim Chubb with Pacific Inland. Our NMLS 361091. If you're interested in buying or refinancing, I suggest you take advantage of my reliable expert advice. I'm at 818-7700. I help you make informed mortgage choices with zero selling. See my Sunday column in the Sentinel. We have a 30-year fixed at 3.375 APR with no closing costs. Some restrictions apply. Call me, 818-7700 for individual pricing. That's 818-7700.
At New Leaf Community Markets, we know that safety is at the top of your mind this holiday season. And that's why we've been working hard to help make your holiday shopping a little less like, the rest of 2020. So whether you plan to shop in person, online, or do a little of both, we've got you covered. With non-GMO and organic turkeys, ready to heat traditional Thanksgiving sides, and lots of local wines. Here's to a year of new traditions. Just head to newleaf.com/holiday to get started.
This is our final segment of China Uber Alice today. We've had quite a lively discussion on the air today about how our election may have been influenced by outside influences outside of our country. Amy Howe and I were talking during the break about how important it is to get this kind of information out. And we have three different viewpoints as the host part of this show, but the other viewpoint is yours, and we want very much to have your opinion when we do these programs. So just write this number down and keep it somewhere near your telephone or where your radio is or whatever, and we would love to have you use this occasionally. It's 831-479-1080. That's the telephone number for the program. we also want you to go to our website, ChinaUberAlice.com. And the Alice is ALLES. ChinaUberAlice, all one word, .com. And on that website, you can sign up for our newsletter. That's the first thing we want you to do. And then poke around. There's past programs archived on the site. There's show notes. There's background information. We have links to various articles that sort of back up what we're talking about, and you can find out the base information about where we're coming from. And if you really want to go down the show rabbit hole here, go to epochtimes.com. That's where Nansu works when he's not here. He's a reporter for that newspaper, and he has thousands of articles there archived. I mean, it's really something.
Well, if you're interested in reading the Epoch Times, you can go online. That's EPOCH, Epoch Times, and that's one of the largest digital publications here in the United States. It's available in 21 languages and published in 35 countries.
Say that again, 35 countries and 21 languages.
Yes.
Great.
It practiced the traditional journalism. So
you mean like the stuff I was trained to do?
Yeah.
where you actually get the other point of view and you actually present both sides and all that?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How unique.
Yep. Yeah, well, you can go there, and they are pretty much stick with that, and you can see they kind of like they want the facts, and they don't really just put their opinion piece to replace the journalism.
Well, or if they put their opinion piece, they
tell you.
They tell you it's an opinion.
Yeah.
It's okay to have an opinion piece as long as you know that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's when you got the guy from the major network, giving his point of view, and everybody thinks it's news. Doesn't work for me.
Well, that's what today's world look like, and that's why I think all this right now, everyone, all the media. I understand why they are really anxious to know what's the evidence that's in the president's hand, and they all want to know that, but we just need to wait. I think that. Because today I went to read an article that's published by the Daily Mail. They basically say the accusation from Trump about that 2.7 million vote that was deleted from him. That was a conspiracy theory. So I tried to look into the article to find why they say that, and apparently to me, it's apparent to me that they don't have any base to say the president doesn't have evidence. Yeah. So I think we should be just patient to wait instead of pointing the fingers. I have great confidence.
That's right. Truth we found out.
Yeah.
We discovered.
And just to bring it back to the beginning of our program today, I can't wait for the next installment of Amy's story.
That's it.
Thank you. I will be continued. Stay tuned.
Okay. That's our program for today. ChinaUberAlice.com is our website. Please go see it. Stay tuned. Flight 1080 is on the way. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Josh and Cammie tonight. And gosh knows, I hope they can get the airplane off the ground and it doesn't crash or anything like that. Thanks to Sam, our engineer in the other room. We appreciate him keeping us on track and taking our phone calls for us. And we thank you for joining us today. This is China Uber Alice on AM 1080 KSCO, Santa Cruz. News is next. Stay tuned.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. As the Trump campaign continues its efforts to ascertain